This episode is brought to you by Brooks Rehab. For over 50 years, Brooks has led the way in advanced physical rehabilitation across Northeast Florida. From life-changing injuries to stroke, post-surgical recovery, neurological conditions, cancer rehab, and more, Brooks is where breakthroughs begin. Our expert physicians, specialized nurses, and top-tier clinicians deliver personalized world-class care in rehabilitation hospitals, outpatient clinics, skilled nursing, assisted living and memory care, and home health and adaptive programs for all ages. Ranked number 1 in Florida by U.S. News and World Report, at Brooks, innovation meets compassion because recovery is personal. With cutting-edge research, advanced technology, and a collaborative care team, Brooks empowers every patient to reclaim their strength, independence, and hope. Beyond remarkable, beyond expectations, Brooks is growing and hiring. Discover more at brooksrehab.org.
All right, brother, we're back. It's pretty good to see you, and it's a little bit different today. I think everybody's going to enjoy it, but
typically we would have a selection of bourbon, or somebody else would
some
choose
good manifest distilled spirits. But today we got a little bit. The person we have on the podcast today is a little bit higher class.
He's a connoisseur.
He is a connoisseur with a palate.
Yes.
So that's what we're going to talk about today.
And we benefit from that.
We
right?
do. We both do. I mean, you're going to be able to taste something that I brought back and something that he brought back from a pretty cool location.
And then I've got something for you to taste.
Oh, you do? You got something?
It's a little bit of a surprise.
All right.
Yeah, we'll reveal
so tell what's going on in your world.
You know, the grind doesn't stop, so work's been great. The thing that I want to brag on, though, is my youngest daughter, Whitney, is graduating with her master's degree from the University of Georgia.
Dude, that's got to feel so good.
It feels so good. She just successfully defended her thesis yesterday morning and got some great remarks from all of her professors on that. And so she's got to finish that final paper, and then I go see her graduate in May.
Nice, man. That's
hard to believe. You remember? I mean, you've known Whitney since she was born.
Since she was a baby, yeah.
And to see all of our kids grow so fast, it's like you blink and they're adults now.
I got to tell you, Caroline is almost done with her year in Africa. She's fluent in Swahili and is ready.
Let's hold on. Back up for a second. She's fluent in Swahili.
Yes. It's a very easy language to learn.
Not too many people can say that. And she knows Spanish inside and out, right?
She's fluent in Spanish as well.
Still working on her English a little bit.
Yeah.
How many, does she speak 3 languages fluently now?
And a lot of French, but really she's going to focus on Spanish.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So super proud, just like you, man. I think the kids are...
They're all doing really well.
I have all adults now. So Rebecca and I
you know, Daisy turned 26 just a couple weeks ago. So it's crazy to think that they're adults. And
you know, the idea is to get all of them to choose to come back to Jacksonville. And that's my goal. If we do that, then we've won for all the families in our city. And I tell you, the guest that we have today plays a critical role in that, because it's not just bringing jobs here, but it's offering amenities and offering opportunities for people to be healthy and fit. And we talk about it all the time. I'm looking forward to the conversation today about it. But I think you're really, really going to enjoy the conversation with Eric Mann. And I think without further ado, we should probably call him up.
We should definitely have him come
on. The next victim on Speakeasy Jacks. What's up, brother?
Good to see you. Well, thanks for being with us today.
I feel overdressed already.
Well, hold up. Let me roll these sleeves up. You got socks.
And you have your master's shirt on.
I do.
So Eric Mann, it's probably on almost every board in Jacksonville. Heavily involved with all the community and moving the community forward, but really mostly known as the CEO of the First Coast YMCA. And I've had the opportunity to serve on his board. He's had the opportunity to serve on my board at the chamber, and he's just a dear friend, athlete, loves to play golf, and I think we're going to enjoy this conversation.
A lot of our viewers benefit from the services your organization provides, so
that's what it's about.
Yep, we're grateful to have you on today.
I think we should start off with a a toast.
Okay.
We got the first selection. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but I don't want it just to sit here and us look at it. But this is from a trip that Rebecca and I went on. We want to hear about your trip, but this is the fine nickel and nickel from Farniente.
Mm-hmm.
And so thanks for coming on board.
Cheers.
Brother. Yep.
My pleasure. My pleasure. It doesn't take a lot to get me to drink some wine. So,
You know, that's one thing that you are definitely a connoisseur. I want to hear what you have to say about all of it. But cheers. That is really, really good.
That's not bad.
Really good.
That's
That's
good
really
juice.
good. So first thing that we love to talk about on the show, because everybody knows who you are. They read your name in the paper or see you on the news or whatever it would be. Mm-hmm. But I think the whole goal of this is to get the story behind the story and like, who is Eric Mann? What was it like when you were growing up? Where did you grow up? So can you tell us your story?
Yeah. A little bit about me. I grew up in a small town outside of Rome, Georgia.
Okay.
And have an older sister, 3 years older. My dad was a plumber. My mom, a school teacher. So we thought we were just the average family.
Right.
And we grew up knowing that we were going to go to school, my sister and I. Education was important to my parents, and especially my mom being a teacher. So understanding that, but I did get into athletics, and I was a pretty good quarterback, a good pitcher. And so I always thought I would be a coach.
Okay.
And teach at our high school or a high school. So I never, I had a chance to play some college ball and baseball at Marshall University, but my goal, quite frankly, was to be a teacher and coach. And the YMCA and God had a different plan for me.
Did you say Mars Hill University?
Mm-hmm.
That's near Asheville?
Yeah, outside of Asheville.
Familiar?
Yeah, it was Mars Hill College. Now
Okay.
it's Mars Hill University.
Yeah, I had a friend that actually pitched there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Played baseball for them, so he loved it there.
Yeah,
What
it's a
your experience was
great
like.
campus, great part of the world.
Beautiful.
It definitely kept me out of trouble. It wasn't a lot to do.
Right.
January, February, back
Right.
in 1977. So it really set me up for kind of my life story, is having that foundation.
Did you play like Little League ball and Pop Warner or what?
Yeah. So I was born in '59. So in my community, there were no black kids in Little League. So I was the first.
Wow.
And my mom was and you're into politics and all these things. In my community, nobody got elected in our town without coming to see my mother and getting her blessings or her vote. But I didn't understand it because I just see all these people coming, white and black.
Why was she the gatekeeper? Yeah.
She had a lot of respect in the community. She taught most of the people. She did everybody's taxes, and she was Miss Mann, and I was Miss Mann's son. But I didn't understand because I was young. All these people used to come, and they would get her endorsement quote. But
That is so cool, man.
yeah. So when I couldn't get into Little League, she went to the city, to Parks and Rec, and said,
When you say you couldn't get into Little League,
no blacks were allowed.
you've got to be kidding me.
No, this was 1966 in Georgia.
Wow.
Yeah, we take for granted that people
Yeah.
have opportunities now, but for you
Oh.
lived that.
I lived it out, and so that's how I got into Little League. And then obviously other kids, and then I played baseball, football, basketball, ran track all the way through, and played trombone.
What? Oh, man.
You don't normally see both.
We've got, okay, all right. So I know you got some cool pictures. I need to see you from the marching band. Or whatever.
No. So, my parents, my mother especially, playing an instrument was part of the education. So my sister was very talented. She was a trumpet, she could sing, but I played trombone. And
Wow.
I had to quit because I couldn't play football and be in the band and same time. So easily gave up. I easily gave up.
chose football.
I chose football, and I was the first black quarterback in our high school.
Wow,
And
that is so cool.
We had a good team. We played against Herschel Walker. He was at a smaller high school, but yeah. So I grew up in athletics. I grew up wasn't a jock because I had good grades and so on and so forth. So my buddies and I, we all either started on baseball, basketball, or football.
So my mom tried to get me to play an instrument as well, and it was the piano. And she used to, during the summer, think about this, all my friends are outside playing wiffle ball, basketball, and I have to do 30 minutes of my level 1, piano lessons. And finally, she just gave up.
She
gave up. I never got out of level 1. And, I think I won that one.
I played the violin for 1 year. The violin. And
he's got violin hands.
yeah, you can see my hands are chubby stumps back then, third grade, fourth grade. And then I gave it up for a similar reason. Baseball and just athletics appealed to me a little more. And, I mentioned you don't normally see fine arts and athletics together like that. So you were pretty cultured as a kid.
Well, it was forced on me. It was kind of a requirement. I believe my mom saw art as part of education.
Yeah.
And so it was just part of what we had to do. And I probably wasn't the most motivated on the studio side. So I was, a B student. My sister was an A student. But I had to get my grades or I couldn't play.
Right.
So that was the motivation. But it wasn't, had I known now, then what I know now about applying myself, it probably would have turned out about the same, but it'd been a little bit easier because I had to go to work in college and make.
So when you were playing ball, was there a point in your high school career? It's crazy. We've talked to several quarterbacks so far, and every one of them have talked about their mom, which is pretty cool, and how impactful mom was. And we both have stories about that too. But it's pretty interesting that's what comes up. But when you were playing, is there a point in high school where you knew, okay, I can play at the next level?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that. I always had the ball in my hand.
Yeah.
Whatever sport, whether it's point guard, whether it's pitching, shortstop, football, quarterback. And my mom loved sports. She was passionate about the brand.
Was she an athlete? Did she play sports?
I don't think so. But I think she came, my dad was a plumber, but she came to all the games. And she was passionate about sports. Football and basketball. And I'll tell this story back to, I told you I was the first black quarterback in high school, and she's in the stands. And there's someone in the stands, and I'm playing, and I may have thrown an interception or something, and this person got up and made this derogatory remark about me. He didn't know my mother was close by. That was that's the wrong thing for that person.
Yeah.
So she was not bashful. She was a
fighter.
She was a fighter, and she was a disciplinarian.
Yeah.
She was very strict. Very, very. I had to be home by 11.
Yeah.
Were
there any other black players on the team?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. We won, oh gosh, from sophomore through high school, our conference every year.
That's nice.
And went to the playoffs every year. So, but yeah, she was.
I wish I could have seen you play back in the day.
Number 8. I got my number 8 from, was it Gaffney at Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I chose number 8.
That's a name Jacksonville knows really well.
Very well. Yeah. And I don't even like Florida, but
I was going to ask, are you a Georgia fan?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
University of Georgia.
Passionate Georgia.
I don't know if you heard earlier when we were talking, but his youngest daughter, Whitney, just graduated from UGA.
Yeah, she's a good lady.
Yeah, pretty excited.
She chose the right school.
She did.
Right school for her.
She did.
I'm a Florida fan. She was a Florida fan, become a Georgia. I have one Georgia polo that I wear when I'm in Athens. The rest, Florida Gator stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a good few years for Georgia. So,
So, high school, you go to college. What were the next steps in your life? Like what got you started?
My coach at high school, he graduated from Marcel. He was a Hall of Famer football player there, and I really thought I was going to go with Tennessee Tech or one of the other ones. I broke my arm.
Okay.
I broke my arm my sophomore year, right at the collar, so throwing changed a bit. And so I wanted to play, and so I ended up, he recruited myself and another player to go to Marcel. And I got there and got disenchanted with college athletics from the standpoint, it really became a job.
Yeah.
And so I was fortunate. I didn't need the scholarship. And I walked on the baseball team and pitched for 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right-handed?
Right-handed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right-hander.
That's good. We were talking to Frank Frangie a couple weeks ago, and he was a pitcher too. I didn't know he was a pitcher, but I knew he was a big baseball guy, but he was a righty as well. That was a lot of fun.
He tried to walk on at Florida. He said he almost made it, but he got cut right at the end. So,
so I knew I was. My story wasn't quite like that. I love the game of football. I love baseball, but I love the game of football, and in my opinion, is the most beautiful game. And I just wanted to play. I wasn't any good, but I found a D3 school that would take me, and I got 4 more years of it. And a lot of good things happened from that decision, but I just loved the game and wanted to play as long as I possibly could. So it's kind of fun.
Being an athlete, I think the love of a game, multiple games, it's more, for me, it's the competitive side. Even after I get out, I've been involved in competitive side of whatever I go after, whether it was racquetball. I played competitive racquetball for a long time. Then I got the squash. Then I started playing golf. But it's all about whether it's riding a bike, that competitive juice.
Yes.
And then in business and in life, we're all competitive. Not from the standpoint of beating someone, but from the standpoint of getting motivated to be successful or to win in whatever we're doing, whatever I do, and whether it's working for the Y and hoping that it be the best organization it can be for our community or on the golf course. It's
we know how competitive you are because we've both received those group texts when you do your workout and you send them to us and say, what have you guys done? I'm up early getting it in.
And you know the story around that? You really want to know the story around the crew?
Yeah.
So my family has a history of diabetes. And so my doctor is actually my neighbor and a good friend, but he was like, okay, you're either going to have to take some drugs or you're going to, I said, what's the alternative? He said, you can lose some weight, so on. And I said, well, let me try the whole weight loss thing, right? And I've always been active, but my eating habits were horrible. And they were horrible from the standpoint, I would eat ice cream at 9:30 at night, or all those kind of things. So I decided to the Y started a small group exercise program. I was the first person to sign up, so I was number 1. And I just started recruiting people, come join, And so it became, like it is now, accountability group.
Yeah. And you got some pretty heavy hitters in that group.
And we've been together going on 11, 12 years. And people have changed their whole life. And the accountability is, like you said, we post all of our workouts. If you don't show up, Andre knows, we'll text.
You get shamed?
Oh, yeah, you get shamed. And now we kind of beholden to each other. And it is a lifestyle. It's no longer a one-time thing. I miss going to work out if I'm traveling. Like this last trip, I went 9 days.
Oof.
That was
I couldn't do that.
That was tough. But I think it's part of, back to the wellness thing, we all can make the lifestyle changes. You have to commit, and you have to have that accountability. You got to have somebody or somebodies that you're accountable to. And by posting, now I've got a whole network of people that I don't even know that
They're checking on you.
They're checking on
Yeah.
you. They're looking at it. And that's kind of why you probably see I also will post either a motivational leadership or a Bible verse.
Yeah.
Again, it's not to, I'm not evangelizing. I'm trying to hold myself accountable to my faith, saying I'm not ashamed.
Yeah.
That makes all the difference.
Yeah.
I even in my life, and I love, fitness and working out, but when you have accountability, it's hard to skip. It's so much easier when you're not connected to, like you said, a group of people. And so, Daniel got me into this. We're wearing these Whoop bands now. I resisted for a while. Even bought him his, but I didn't want one because it tracks your sleep and it tracks your recovery. But we have a little group, and it's accountability. Every day you wake up and you look to see, like, where do I fall on this list? Maybe I need to get to bed a little earlier. Maybe I need to work out, a little harder, or whatever the case. But it's really helped me, I think, stay consistent
And reach your goals.
Yeah.
It's funny because my son Christian is a sophomore at Florida State. You met Christian a couple times, and I can see how much sleep he got every night, and you can tell what night he goes out with his buddies because he'll get 7.5 hours, 8 hours, 4, and you're like, bro, what did you do last night?
That's exactly right.
And the recovery shows it too.
Yeah, it does. It does. So how much weight did you lose?
I lost 25 pounds.
Yeah, I've kept 20 off for about a year and a half now.
I've kept it off for 7 years.
Yeah, you can see a transformation.
But it wasn't a crash diet. It was changing habits, and eating and consistently monitoring what I put and how much I put in my body. I have vices. I love wine.
Yeah.
So I'm probably not going to stop drinking wine. And so I stopped some other things. But yeah, I did about 10, plateaued, then 5, plateaued. And then actually the pandemic helped me a lot. I lost the last 5 during the pandemic.
When most everybody else is putting 5 on, you were
Putting
taking 5
5
off.
every morning. We had the Y had the virtual workout, so I'd be in the garage.
Yeah.
And I had literally had some boxes that had wine bottles in them as my curls. Because I couldn't get into the Y.
That's
I
creative.
love that. I love
creative.
that. Find a way to get after it.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of your workouts are circuit stuff, like HIIT stuff, right?
Yeah,
High
it's HIIT stuff.
intensity, interval
And
training, and we've
body-
done a couple of your workouts, and they're not easy.
No, Veronica is a beast. She's the best leader, and she meets you where you are.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got people who started who couldn't do one push-up. And now they're killing it and running 5Ks and doing all kinds of stuff. So that's the part about the instructors. I think instructors help you be your better self and motivate you to push yourself. And so, I love it. Like they said, they know that I'm just like them.
Yeah.
For a long time, they didn't know I worked for the Y, which was actually perfect.
Right.
That's pretty funny to think about. That you know that you were the CEO of
at
the Y.
5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
People really they're not trying to ask you a whole lot,
Yeah.
and I don't wear it on my shoulder. I'm just like they are. I'm there working hard.
You're gasping for air just like everybody else.
Everybody else. And then it probably was 2 or 3 years before the majority knew I worked for the Y, and they'll talk to me a little bit, but not much, because we're all there trying to get better,
Trying to get through it.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And I love just seeing the pictures and all the people I know that work out in your group. And it's got to, I tell you, it's all about intake. That's number one, is to watch people decide, I'm changing the way I look at a menu when I go to a restaurant. Okay? Because there are certain things that I don't even look at anymore because I'm not even interested in that. And then, you have to get for heart health and tone up, you have to get the resistance training and the HIIT classes. But it's fun to see when somebody just in their head goes, that's it. I'm done with that. I'm not doing ice cream at 9:30 anymore. I'm going in. I'm serious about it. And then making the life change. It's pretty cool.
I still like ice cream.
I was going to say, do you have some days or times where you tend to enjoy? Because for me, I have one meal a week where I just splurge a little bit.
I'm pretty good. I will every now and then, if ice cream is around, I'll have some. But Klondike bars used to be just stacked every night, and so I don't have any of that. I don't have any of that.
Have you seen the Yasso bars? They're like frozen Greek yogurt. It's like 100 calories, but it kind of gives me that fix if I'm craving it. So it's not full-fledged ice cream.
The Bluebell big bowl.
Right.
You want that Millennium Crunch.
Millennium Crunch.
If you're gonna cheat, why cheat?
Man,
Why it don't not taste good?
I'm telling you, because TJ cheats on Friday, I cheat on Sunday, and when I do, I've gone all week very high protein, very low carbs, usually no bread at all, and then on Sunday night I will eat as many slices of pizza as I possibly can eat. And my record is 6 slices.
6 slices.
But I always follow that up with a big bowl of ice cream. And so then I get back on the wagon on Monday morning, but I will eat as much as I possibly can eat on Sunday.
I just ate a whole large pizza.
He eats a whole
pizza.
He will eat a whole.
Yes.
He'll send me a picture of the box after he gets through eating the whole thing.
Yeah, I would. It would put me dead to sleep if I try to eat a box of pizza. It's kind of funny. You always talk about people in your life. I had this gentleman in Pittsburgh. His name was Dick Fisher. Are you familiar with Federated Funds?
No.
Federated Funds is the largest mutual funds company.
Okay.
And it was founded in Pittsburgh. Well, he was one of the founders. So Dick was probably, when I met him, he was probably 75, about 6'3", full of white hair, great golfer. And so we were walking to play golf. And I said, Dick, you're in great shape. You're 70-something. You're still walking. He was like, he called me young man. He said, give you this tip. First, he says, you can't out-exercise the table. And then he said, how you treat your body in your 40s will show up in your 50s.
Yes.
And on and on.
Yes.
And I took it to heart. And so it really is true. How you treat your body in your 50s will show up in your 60s, and 60s will show up in your 70s. And so that really stuck with me, even though I'm in the wellness business.
Yeah.
That was an easy one. You can't out-exercise a table. And how you treat your body in the 50s or 40s will show up.
Yeah, you cannot go work out and grab cheeseburgers on the way home. You just can't do it.
It doesn't.
And I think more people are learning and being educated on nutrition, the value of sleep, macro.
That's the value of sleep. I probably don't want to mention that. I'm the worst.
Well, it's incredibly important for recovery.
No, I understand it. I'm like 5 hours a night. I got an O-ring.
I need to get you a Whoop band.
I got an O-ring.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're tracking it.
Yeah, my daughter gave me one for Christmas. I got an O-ring.
You have it on?
Not now. I put it on at night and then I work out.
Okay, all right. Well,
So Eric, that's why I resisted the Whoop band for so long. And then, I got it for my birthday, and you have to wear it when somebody buys it for you for your birthday. And then the sleep part of it, because I'm a 5 to 6 hour a night guy, but since I started wearing this, it's creeping up to 6.5, 7. Some nights, but not every night. But I feel like different people demand different amounts of sleep, and so if you've learned to,
well, it wasn't. But I've never been asleep. But I turned 50, and it was like,
it's time.
And then it became, okay, if you're going to be awake, let's get productive.
Yeah.
So I do my devotion, I read my papers, and then I get to the why.
Yeah.
And so now between that 4:35 and 7 is my time. There's no interruptions. I can do all of that. And so that's the hard part about it is, but yes, I know I need more.
Yeah.
More
It's pretty important. The more you read about it, like when I was growing up, if you slept past 6 o'clock, you were lazy. That was our philosophy. Mm-hmm. And then you realize, man, my my kids, when they're sleeping in, they're growing, they're recovering,
Yes.
and how important that is. But I mean, we could talk about that all day. I do want to get back to your path, and so you graduated from college. How did you get connected? I mean, you've been at the Y for 40 years.
At 44.
44
Next
years
month.
serving the YMCA, which is incredible. And it really is special for us to have you here, and hopefully you're here for the rest of your life. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of you asked me a question earlier about sports. And this sounds strange, and it's not cocky, but I didn't realize it. I was always on winning teams.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't because something I did. Sometimes it was, but I had this thing.
That's fortunate. Yeah.
I can name, and I played every sport on a losing team, probably 3 or 4 out of all of them, all in my life.
Yeah.
And so I get to school, and I had to do an internship. And, internships for a semester, they get free labor for a semester. So I sent out resumes to Boys and Girls Club, the Jewish Community Center, the Y, Parks and Rec. And the Y, all of them responded and said, yes, we'll take you. But the Y they offered me 50 cents a mile.
For mileage.
And I was 15 miles each way, so 30. So that bought me gas, pizza, and beer. So as a college student, I took the Y.
Yeah.
But I didn't grow up with the Y. I didn't know the Y. And it goes back. So I work with kids, with teens in a non-facility at an old Catholic church, ran after school programs, ran team programs, ran sports. And graduation comes up. Internship is over. And my parents, my mother and father, they were coming up to graduate. And they're like, well, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I'm going to come home this summer, umpire some baseball, probably play a little semi-pro baseball, rest and send out resumes in August. And I heard my dad in the background saying, well, what about that place you were working for free for? And my mom said, yeah, what about? And I said, well, they offered me a $5 an hour job, working with kids. And, they both said, we suggest you stay up there.
Wow. You're going to take that job.
Yeah. And I did. $5 an hour. And I always had a passion for sports and a passion for kids in terms of, so that's how I started. Within a year and a half, I got an opportunity to become a director in New Haven, Connecticut. So
that's pretty quick.
I grew up in Georgia.
Yeah.
I grew up in Georgia.
Yeah.
I had never gone north of DC. So you got me, didn't know anybody. I had a Celica. I packed up everything I owned in my Celica and drove to New Haven and was a youth director. And urban, and all I did was youth sports, ran aquatics, basketball leagues, and did that and had some success and grew to like senior program director and all this. But there was a seminal moment in New Haven. One of the members at our Y, he came up to me, he said, have you ever thought about the Defense Department? I'm like, Defense Department? No, I work for the Y. He's like, I think you would be a good agent. So he asked, would I take the test and all that? I said, sure. I'm 24. I didn't have, the Y wasn't a career at that particular time. And so I went through all the tests and background checks and for the FBI. And he happened to be the top recruiter for the East Coast. And I just thought he was a member of the Y. So long story short, they were taking the top 10% in the country. I finished in the top 13%. So I didn't get offered a job. Okay. So God had a different story. 6 months later, I get a promotion and move to Los Angeles. I get to LA, and probably 3 months later, I get the call from the FBI that they're ready. By that time, I'm in LA, 1989, and the Lakers were Magic Johnson and Sunshine.
Oh, yeah,
and
you found your
I'm
place.
single.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna stay with this Y.
Yeah.
And literally that's, but I had fallen in love with the Y and what it could do. And I met my wife, met her there. So my personal and professional life started to change.
Isn't it crazy how your path, your plan for your path, and then what the path is?
Yeah.
Like why I'm sitting here today makes no sense.
No
at all.
sense.
And it's just crazy to look back on it and see the little things that happened along the way that changed.
And
the whole
I would
path.
say, Faith, you have to listen. Because if you ask for it, because I was asking for all these things, but I wasn't listening for a long time. But then when I slowed down to listen, things started to happen.
Yeah.
And I just say thank you. I
Yeah.
don't question him. I don't try to guide my path.
Sounds like you fast tracked through, some important positions. Was there something in particular that you feel like allowed you to grow so quickly in the organization?
I'm not afraid to work.
Yeah.
So I put in the time, but I think it's more of, I figured out my personal passion and my personal mission in life is to help people.
Yeah.
I think anytime you can finally understand that, then you can be intentional and you could do it more often, and just it changes the trajectory. And then this is more of what I would call anybody, if you're willing to relocate, you can accelerate your growth. And so I had moved 3 times. And so every time you move, they want you, so they're going to pay you more. And then you got to perform. But I was younger for a lot of the leadership positions all the way through, because I was willing to pick up and relocate. I've moved 7 times. Most people think I'm in the military.
Family okay with that every time, or was that hard?
My wife, we met in LA, so I hadn't moved 3 times before we met, but we've moved 4 times.
Yeah.
We left LA and went to Cincinnati, left there and went to Charlotte, left there and went to Pittsburgh, and we came here in 11. So I'm very fortunate. My wife is a speech pathologist, so employment opportunities were great everywhere we went. So that was never, and our daughter, we were fortunate, we moved during key kind of transition time for her. So we left LA when she was 2. We left Charlotte when she was going to the 5th grade. So those transition times, she was able to spend a lot of time in Charlotte and all her high school years in Pittsburgh. So that made it a little easier. And by the time we got here, she graduated and going to school, college.
Was there something about, or is there something about the Y? Obviously, there is. What is it that has kept you there for more than 4 decades? You don't see that, as you know.
Are you the longest serving employee at the YMCA?
In total?
Yeah.
No, there's a guy from Jacksonville. He just retired in Louisville. I think he worked like 60 years.
Wow.
No, you know what the difference is for me is I'm very blessed. My personal passion and purpose in life matches my professional vocation. The why? My personal is I want to help people.
Yeah.
The Y is a perfect organization for me to live out that part of my life. And I have a business kind of mindset. I think in another life I would have been a CEO of a for-profit business.
Yeah.
And so I think of the Y is kind of a social enterprise more than it is a pure charity. We are charitable. We're 501c3, but we have to generate our own resources. So that takes business skill sets and everything. Like, we've got 1,700 employees, and our operating budget is $43 million.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot. And so my business skill set, it puts me in a different place in terms of not only satisfaction, but growing. understanding how to grow and all the skill sets you need, regardless of whether my nonprofit means nobody makes any money off of us. There's no shareholders that get stock options. That money goes back into the organization, but what it takes to generate that is the same as any for-profit company.
And it's very entrepreneurial. I don't know if all the Ys are like ours, but there's always a growth mode. There's always, where's the next place we can go? How can we affect people? And honestly, you talked about being a coach earlier, and that was kind of like what your dream was, to be a coach. And it's like, I'm not sure you're very far off from being a coach and involved with helping people.
Yeah, well, it's leading, I think, being able to recruit and develop talent is how you're successful.
Right.
And so I want our leaders to grow. I want them to grow. And so part of it is, that's the helping side, you know. And but yeah, no, the why has been, I could tell stories for days on the people I've met through the why.
That's awesome. All right, I think we need to move on to the most important part of the discussion today. You know, I told you that Rebecca and I, some friends took us out the Napa Valley about 2 months ago. I know you've been several times. That was my first experience, and I was expecting it to be very posh and high society. And when you get out there, you realize this is an agricultural community.
Right. Yes,
and it's a bunch of farmers.
It's a bunch of farmers.
It was so comfortable. We had so much fun. I love wine, and I love a Napa Valley cab. And to be able to see the vineyards that are my favorite, like I get to go by and see that. We had a really good time. I got a picture of, I know you have a couple pictures for me, but I was going to show you a picture of Rebecca and me at the top of this mountain. It's incredible. And I've seen some of the, I mean, just look at the view. It's just, and that was everywhere.
Yes.
It was always like that. And I don't know if you've seen this, Steve. But it's just breathtaking, and they do it right. And so that's what we were trying today. The first one was the Nickel with Farniente. And it was such a cool tour, and to see how they process and where they store the wine. And
that's a family. That's a husband and wife.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you been to Farniente?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I've when I lived in California, that's when I started really getting into wine. So we'd drive up all the time.
Wow.
And the last time we were there was in 21.
21?
Yeah. Our daughter lives in LA, and she met us up there. And she's turned into a little wine person as well. So
well, you're a connoisseur. And so
connoisseur is giving me a lot more credit. I like to drink wine. I don't know. I like good wine.
There's high quality and there's low quality.
That is true. But it's all about what you like, though.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some wines that I like a lot. You may not like them, and that's okay. That's what wine is about, I think. But I like good wine. I don't drink wine that doesn't taste good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean,
defeats the purpose,
right? It defeats the purpose. If I'm going to cheat, I'm going to cheat with something that I like.
So tell us about your recent trip that you just took.
Yeah. So it's a bigger story. I'll try to be quick. I went to Africa for the first time in 1995. And first of all, there are YMCAs in 120 countries.
I did not know that.
And the Y was founded in London. So I was living in Cincinnati and had a chance to go to Africa. We visited 5 countries, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Kenya, and Togo, and over a 21-day period. So my love affair, one, being African-American, going to Africa was amazing as a young guy. So fast forward, I go back to South Africa in 2004. The Y was about to collapse. And so myself and another colleague—
In South Africa?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We were like, how can we help them?
Yeah.
And so I started a coalition process of partners. And so we started with 6 cities, and we basically pooled our money. We put in the money, and then we took our money to help them continue to stay alive.
Right.
And not stay alive, but really help them grow. We don't tell them how to run their Ys. We support their priorities, and they tell us what they are. So long story short, I started going back. Oh gosh, I've been to South Africa now 14 times.
Oh, wow.
14.
Yeah, so we
It's
just
like once a year? I mean,
generally it's once every 16, 18 months.
Okay.
It's other times I've gone once a year, but the group, the coalition. So we just had our coalition visit 26 people from 7 cities, all YMCA people, volunteers, and some staff.
Mm-hmm.
And we, they are struggling to come back from pandemic. Like here, we had fortunately government assistance and large contributors that helped us
keep it
rebound.
alive. Yeah.
They don't have that. And so we are trying to figure out whether it's microloans or like we did a shoe drive where we bought new shoes for like 200 kids and went to the school, and there's no better satisfaction than watching a kid who's got holes in his shoes and socks get a pair of new shoes. And so you got grown people just crying.
Yeah.
from
That was
the
something we
States.
take for granted.
We take it for
every day.
granted.
Yeah.
And so, but Stellenbosch is the Napa Valley of South Africa. And Stellenbosch is about 45 minutes from Cape Town. It's the most amazing, like that shot you showed me.
Yeah.
They have, and I sent you a picture of it. It's amazing where you're looking at vineyards. And there's a Jacksonville connection to Stellenbosch.
What's going on with that?
So there is a winery, a vineyard named Haskell.
I have heard this.
Preston's
Yes.
son has owned that vineyard.
Is this the picture of the?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the picture of one of the places.
amazing is that? It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous. And so Preston's son has an amazing vineyard and very, very good wine. And so when I told Rushton that I was going, this was probably 10 years ago, she arranged with her brother for me to get a tour of the vineyard. And now every time we go over there, we go to the vineyard. And
That's
it's
awesome.
just, but they have unbelievable wine. And they're becoming one of the great wine growers. They're what you would call a New World wine.
Right.
So Napa's a New World wine. Old World is Italy and Spain.
Right.
But South Africa is coming up the ranks. So
Well, we try this. Try the. What do you have today?
I have a bottle of, it's called Pinotage. And Pinotage is a naturally grown grape. It's a Mertage. So it's a mixer of a Cab grape and a Pinot grape.
Okay.
But it's grown that way.
Like, is it a lighter flavor?
Well, it's half and half.
Wow.
It's half
Yeah.
and half.
And that's naturally occurring? They're
It's
not,
naturally, it only grows in South Africa. This grape does. And so, and this is Canon Cook is the name of it. This is an 03, so this is pretty good.
03?
Yeah, this is pretty good.
brought the
This-
good stuff today.
Yeah, this is pretty good. So,
Can we try it?
yes, we're going to try
mean,
it. So,
I'll pour it.
yes, if you can pour it, start and go around. But they're passionate about their wine. But I would
start.
I would say to anyone, especially if you like wine, and right now, Delta has a direct flight from Atlanta to Cape Town. Now it's 16 hours, but it's a direct flight.
Thank you.
And
That's a long time not to be in the first class.
well,
See.
that sounds like a personal problem to me.
He said, who are you talking to?
No,
That's
but,
a long time.
no, but it is. But I would say now the dollar is like 18 to 1. So
Yeah.
you can. That trip is your biggest cost is the airline ticket.
Yeah.
Once you get there, you can go and eat and stay in great places and go on safari.
It smells great.
Yeah, it's been, I would say that this will.
The top. This
This
top
is
of the
good.
top.
No,
Yeah.
just taste it and see.
Yeah.
Right.
Ooh. That is so smooth. That is really,
And
really
It's
good.
different than anything I've had before.
Yeah, that's
And the more it breathes, the better it's
Yeah.
going to get.
That
This is an
pretty
03.
smooth.
So, but yeah, so you can drink on this for a while.
You sent another picture. I wanted to show it, TJ, of your family in Napa.
Mhm.
That's a great photo. Wow, you got a beautiful family, man. That was when she came over in Napa?
Yeah, so my daughter lives in Los Angeles, and so she came up and met us. Yeah, met us. That's at Farnette.
Farniente. Oh,
Mhm.
sweet.
Yeah, that's there.
They were so nice.
Yeah,
They were so nice.
They really,
Yeah.
and so my daughter, people kid me that my daughter has my taste in wine, which she does. So I'm trying to make it difficult for the guy who,
Right, yeah, whoever. yeah.
whoever tries to go cheap on her, she won't go for that.
Just love the way a dark cab tastes, man. And I can eat clean all day long, and this is my only issue. And,
Well, this is an issue I will always have.
always take all day long.
That's exactly right. I think life is about living. We
You kind of wonder what Jesus turned water into wine. It had to be a dark cab. That's kind of what I think.
Some people might say it could have been a rosé, but I'm not sure. I'll go with the cab.
Yeah, man,
I'll go with the cab.
in my mind, I'm thinking that was the best, smoothest stuff ever made. And, it would've
so
been pretty cool to be
most
part of
people,
that.
I'm kind of. I named my dog Camus. So-
Right.
I saw that on
get
Facebook.
Yeah, so people are like, you really are a wino. I'm like, well, I like Camus.
So, do you have? I heard that there was a third option
There's
for the
a third-
taste test. I know who the winner is right now, but do
So
you have-
far.
okay.
But reserve your vote for what I'm about to bring out. And I think maybe our viewers some of them could relate a little more to this selection. This came from a trip that I made to Publix just this afternoon. This is a French Italian
The
Frangia.
French Italian.
Anyways,
French Italian.
So
blend.
it's the
blend.
world's most
It's
popular.
gonna be fruitful.
So TJ, would it hurt your feelings if I said thanks but no thanks?
Not at all.
We're doing a taste test.
But I do.
We are doing a taste test.
I
That
do
is
want
true.
to tell you, it's the world's most popular wine, and it has won over 150 awards.
Well,
and I think that's primarily for with college students, and I think
there's a place for
there
everybody
you go,
and a price for
a
everybody.
price point for everyone.
Yes.
I think a lot of our
And we're
viewers,
going to taste that.
a lot of our viewers remember this from their college days.
it's going to be hard for you to pour out of a box. Yeah.
And
Let's go to spout.
we don't have any more glasses.
Well, actually, if you want to taste it, it's not out a special.
It's no better than out of plastic.
We'll refrain. We'll just sip on what you brought from.
I saw that.
We
You gotta
will.
pour
I
the
think
Frangia.
we should taste it. This plastic cup is appropriate.
Let's
for
do it. Let's
box
do it.
wine. We
Well,
should,
all right, I'm gonna try not to make a mess here.
oh my gosh.
It's got a very crisp look
You have
to
to
it.
let it breathe a little bit.
Please don't pour too much.
More of like a shot.
Yeah, it looks.
That is-
it's a light, crisp.
This
fruitful.
may be the one that a lot of churches pass out for
yes,
communion.
yeah.
This could save you a little bit of money if you end up enjoying it.
All right. So you know what part of the country it's from?
I think it's from Callahan, if I'm not mistaken. But
All right. Well, we
Wine in
gotta
Callahan may be pretty good.
try the.
Yeah, we do have to try it.
it tastes like
That
grape
is
juice.
definitely church wine.
This is communion wine.
This is definitely
I need
communion
the
time.
unleavened bread
We
to
need
pass
some bread.
out.
I said we just need a little bread. we can say communion.
Get my sins forgiven.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
Thanks for humoring me, guys.
I'm gonna have to take a drink of water after that.
Cleanse your palate with some water.
That is true. That part is true because we got wine to finish.
Well, I got to tell you this. You know what my job is, and that's to bring more jobs to Jacksonville. And so we always talk about this on the show. Arguably, you and I and TJ have some of the coolest jobs in Jacksonville. All right. But it's not always been that way for us. And we would love to hear what's your hardest or worst job that you ever had as you were coming up. What was it? Where did you get stuck on the ladder?
I had two.
Okay.
And they're two different. One was, I think I told you that I wasn't as motivated about education as my mother and parents wanted me to be. So my dad was a plumber and a contractor. So he worked with his hands. He dug, built a house, had to dig stuff and roof tiles and all. So I think I was a sophomore in high school. And I was starting to feel myself, big. And they made me work with Dad for the summer. And on the houses, I was the one that had the shingles climbing up. Now, this is Georgia, so this is 100 degrees, climbing up, taking those, or digging for pipes and going under the house. I was like, you know what? I'm going to college.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not doing this. So that's the first part. That was pretty tough. And I didn't get paid.
Did you bring your lunch to the job site?
Every day.
What did you bring?
Oh, I had bologna sandwich.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was a peanut butter honey guy.
Yeah.
I had two peanut butter honey sandwiches and sour cream potato chips all summer long, and I'd find a shade tree anywhere I could get some shade and sit underneath that shade too.
But see, my job didn't get paid because I was my dad. So I'm doing that.
The fact that you got to sleep in his house and eat his food.
That's exactly.
Right?
That's what he told me. And I had a car, and so I got some gas money. But really, the most grueling one that, so during the summer, after, a lot of the athletes, we would work out during the summer, and the coach, some of the boosters, we would get jobs.
Yeah.
So
before NIL.
Long before.
Yeah.
Long before. So we had a job to bale hay. And so it was about 6 of us. And this farm was about 10 miles away.
It makes me want to
Is this at Mars Hill?
No, this is high school.
Okay.
This is high school.
Think about that in your nose and in your eyes.
And bales of hay.
Yes.
When they're wet.
Oh.
And then you're out there, it's hot, it's steamy, you got bales, and that stuff is all over you. I think we lasted 2 days, and we didn't even go back to get our paycheck.
It's like you can have
We worked for free for 2 days and then quit.
Because our coach has got it. We're like, Coach, we'll come and work out. We'll do whatever. We're not going back. It's called Menlo, Georgia, baling any hay. It was the most grueling. I have a great appreciation for farmers who do that, because that was the worst. It was hot, and you got all those hay bales and all this stuff over your face and scratching up your arms, and all we were making were like $4 an hour.
Yeah.
And we were like, there's got to be something better. I'll go back and work out every day and run sprints and not get paid.
It just talks to you about how important education is.
And hard work. I mean, that was part of it. That was probably the worst job that I had. And it taught me that I didn't want to grow up having to do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And at the same time, I bet you had an appreciation for the farmers that were, doing that generation after generation. I mean, think about what we wouldn't have if we didn't have people that were willing to.
That's exactly.
That.
We were spoiled, quite frankly. Yeah. I would say that a lot of my friends, all of us, we were spoiled.
Well, I think we all are very spoiled. And I would tell you, when you talk about Africa, and Rebecca just got back from Tanzania. She was there for about 3.5 weeks. And when I picked her up from the airport, she kept talking to me about the roads in Jacksonville. And I was like, okay, I get it. She know you do not understand. Mm-hmm. The fact that we can drive home and we're not bouncing all over the place. And it's just one thing that we just don't even think about when we're driving to work is how smooth the roads are to work.
And the potholes would be, I was going to the Great Falls in Zambia. The potholes were like this. We had two wheels on the side of the road and other two wheels in the ditch.
Yeah.
We could not drive because it was. So yeah, the things that we take for granted here, and that's one of the things about going over. One, people are happy.
She said that.
Because they are, you would look at it like, how are they happy? They are so happy, and it makes us feel, when we visit and we're helping, they are so grateful. They are so happy for what they have. They do all of their work with volunteers.
Oh, yeah.
That's why all those kids we were talking about, they have one paid person. The other 300, they're volunteers.
That's hard to believe.
Unemployment's at 60%. And so you got these young teenagers and young adults. They see the Y, their faith, the Y is a Christian organization. Yeah. So their faith, that's where they want to do a lot of their volunteer work. So yeah, it's a humbling, it makes, well, I know for me, it's just part of who I am. Our world is much bigger than what we have here.
Yeah.
And how we can help there is just part of our mission.
Well, I can tell you're a coach. I kind of see you're a part minister at the same time. And I think that's awesome. You've always shared your faith since you've been here. And I think that's super important.
And faith is not being perfect.
Yeah.
No. Having faith is not being perfect.
Yeah.
I'm away from that, but I try to live the way that I believe.
Yeah.
So
it's evident. And I would tell you, number one, thank you for giving us an hour of your time today. It's been a great conversation. And I would tell you what you mean to Jacksonville is so you're a treasure for us here in Jacksonville. And I'm glad you're here, and I don't ever want you to leave.
We're not going anywhere. I think when I got here in 2011, Jacksonville was very different.
Yeah.
And I'm probably one of the most optimistic, bullish people on Jacksonville. I told someone last night, I said, in 5 years, you're not going to recognize downtown.
Totally agree.
In 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, and so I'm excited about it, whether it was my work with the Civic Council, the Y, we've benefit from the growth of our market in the 6 counties. And I do believe that we are an institution that helps create a quality of life. It's not the only thing, but I think we are part of that equation.
No doubt.
And serving everybody in all communities. So,
Yep.
And obviously, we're wrapping this conversation up, Eric. I know people could Google YMCA of Jacksonville or First Coast Y, but is there a website you want to send them to, or
FCYMCA.org. Yep.
Thank you for what you're doing through the organization.
Thank you.
Personally in the community as you volunteer on all these boards and make an impact. And thank you for the wine.
I was going to say, thanks for the 2003.
We got to finish this.
We may finish up the podcast, but we're going to sit here.
Exactly.
All right.
Well, thank you for the invite. And congratulations on this venture. And I think there needs to be more conversations like this. And I'll talk about a concept that I have that wine is involved, but it's a conversation around wine and food. It's amazing the stories like you told about that bottle.
Yeah.
Like I would tell about this bottle.
I got told about my box.
Yes. Your story might be a little shorter than ours.
I don't have any pictures. I could have taken a picture.
Got a great parking space in Publix.
In the aisle of Publix, I could have taken.
That is true, but yeah, thank you for inviting me. I'm excited about Jacksonville, and hopefully your platform goes well, because I think there needs to be more platforms and more opportunities for people just to have conversation.
Yeah, share the story.
You'll find out that we're probably more alike than we think.
Yep. Amen to that. All right, thank you, man. It's been a great conversation, and I look forward to sitting with you for a couple more minutes after we turn it off.
Sounds good.
All right. Appreciate it, brother.
You've seen the shirts, now hear the story. 8103 Clothing was born from heartbreak, built with passion, and designed to make an impact. The name honors a loved one lost too soon, a brother whose memory lives on in every stitch, every design, every drop. For the past 7 years, 8103 Clothing has partnered with the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp to release throwback tees and viral designs, unique merch like the Jag Shrimp t-shirt that I have and wear often. And yes, they're officially licensed to use all the classic Jacksonville Suns logos as well. But 8103 is more than a brand, it's a movement. Backed by over 2 decades in the event space, founder Mark Braddock started with a 10-vendor pop-up. That vision evolved into the 904 pop-up, now Jacksonville's largest curated market, featuring over 200 vendors and generating more than 1 million impressions each month. This is about more than fashion. It's about building community, repping local, and keeping small business culture front and center. Rooted in Jacksonville Beach for over 22 years, yet they're just getting started. 8103 Clothing, resilience, community, legacy, keeping the memory alive. Thanks for tuning in to Speakeasy Jacks. If you enjoyed the conversation, follow us on our social media platforms, share it with a friend, and make sure you like and subscribe so you never miss an episode.